Okay, welcome to the BSC podcast. In today's episode, we have Benny the Jet Urquidez, world's greatest kickboxer, action movie director, action choreographer, all round great guy, family man, father, grandfather.
That's it. All the above.
All the above.
But don't push me now.
I'm here with Zach, and for the next hour or so, we're going to talk to Benny the Jet. Benny, thanks for coming in.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Get excited about this one, man. We had you for that little 15-minute stint the other day, and then I'm like, man, we got to do that. We got to get a real sit down with it.
Well, then here we are.
Yeah,
right?
here we are, man.
That's
Here we
it.
are.
So take us from the start. So you grew up in a fight family. Let's go back to the start.
Let's put it this way.
Your mother and father.
Let's talk about my mother was a professional wrestler. My father was a professional boxer. I have no idea how they got together, but you can see the fight of blood.
Yeah.
So my mother was a very good wrestler. I used to ask all the time, how come you have ball spots? Back then when the women wrestled in the 50s,
They pulled
they
hair.
were grabbing hair and actually doing like a one-arm shoulder throw with the hair. And I asked, how come that, you're all bruised up and this and that? So she said, come. But she didn't take me to the fight. She took me to the workout. And I'm watching her. I said, oh, man. I said, I want to do that. And my mom, and I'm just a little tot there.
Yeah.
And I said, I want to do that. And she said, in time. And my father, my father was very macho, but I don't think I ever saw my father without a suit and a hat. He was macho, woman's man, that kind of a
Presence.
Rico Suave.
Yeah, the swagger. He had the swagger.
That was him, and so, but yet he had, my father was very aggressive and never made it high in the boxing. He was a good boxer, but never made it as a contender. And I asked him, and he says, I do this for the ladies. And I
That's
said,
awesome.
okay. I said, are they boxers?
Yeah.
But that was him.
Now,
So-
did your mother and father, did they compete or in wrestling and boxing, or did they just train in the art?
They competed, and then it got to the point where my father had a temper. And so one day he actually hit my sister and hit my sister with the left to a bum. And my sister went down, and my mom saw that. And my mom went after him, put him in the hospital. Oh, put him in the hospital. And so I heard my mom the words, you ever hit any of my kids again, you will not see the next day. You will not hit my kids. And
That's powerful.
And my mom meant it. My mom meant, and my mom was that strong. And I don't, even though my father was decent boxer, my mom, she was fearless. She was fearless. And so I used to ask my mom, you know, some of my friends saying that the wrestling is fake. And she said, what do you think? And I said, they had no idea what they're talking about. And I said, I said to her, why did they say that? And she looked at me and she said, because they know not what they're saying. They know nothing about what they're doing. All they see on TV, but they don't realize what it takes to do that. You get slapped, in the throat. Oh, you get slapped and your whole body hits that ground. I said, do you know how many times you hit that ground? And she said, if the ring has spring-loaded floors, so there's give in the ring. because you're coming from a high,
Rope.
no, that's 5, 6 feet high, and then you're another 10 feet high coming from that height, hitting, even if it has give it is a spring-loaded floor, you're still that's the sudden stopper. Boom!
Yeah.
You know,
That's why a lot of wrestlers nowadays they're pain pills and everything else. Yeah,
everything.
they're done. When they're done, they are done.
It's very. I've never seen anybody work so hard as these wrestlers.
So all your siblings were fighters, right?
Yeah.
So how many? Just take us through. How many brothers and sisters do you have?
There was 10 of us, but one of my oldest brother passed away, so there was 9 of us. I have actually 4 sisters and 6 brothers, 5 brothers.
And everybody was a fighter.
There was 9. There was 9 black belts in my family, and my oldest sister is the only one did not. She fought. She was an attorney. She fought with her tongue. She was vicious. Man, I would be getting hit broadside anytime with a left hook to the jaw than listening to my sister.
So when you started in the combat arts, what did you start in? You started in wrestling and boxing? Boxing. And then take us through. So you box. Who did you box with? And then how did you... Oh, you boxed
because back then there was no PB division. There was nothing back then. In the 50s, it was all the trainers, their sons and stuff like that. They trained their sons, and we all trained, and then we fought against each other. As a little tournament, an inside tournament between all the fighters around Los Angeles, and we fought each other. And I just, the problem was I was too aggressive and too fast. So for some reason, by the time when I was born to the time I was 10 years old, I always thought I was invisible. Why? I just thought nobody paid attention because my hands were very fast. I think I was always one to please my father. My hands were so fast I couldn't see it. It was that quick. And even some of the trainers couldn't see what I did to their sons. So they always used to tell my father, tell your son, calm down. We're just having a. And so my father said, put a headgear on your sons. Yeah. But my father would never put a headgear on me. He put a headgear on them. I make these kids, but you know what? That's why I became a body offender, man. That means I like hitting the body, I like kicking the thighs. Yeah. So I used to make all these kids cry with body shots.
So when was the first time you said, I'm going to go all the way with this? I got a real talent. I can kick ass. What point in your young career did you think, okay, I'm going to pursue this. I'm going to go. I'm not just training it. I'm going to pursue.
None. Because by the time I was 6, my oldest brother, went into Kimbo Karate with Birazaki. And so obviously all of us went behind my brother. And then my brother went into Shotokan. We all followed him. But I'm a kicker, so I went into Taekwondo because I love kicking.
So your initial martial art was Taekwondo?
No, my initial was Kimbo.
Kimbo, and then you moved into it.
Nice. And then I used to go and work with, from there, because I was a good kicker, I was very flexible. Then I never even learned how to do gymnastics, but just watching, I was just gun ho. I'd be jumping over things, and my mom used to, she said, get off, my God, get off that bed. I would be up on the dresser real high, jumping into the bed and stuff. It's just, I was just so wild. I was so crazy that I would go up to a tree. When I was young, I would go up to a tree to see if I can get right at the top of it. And you're talking about almost 75 feet to 100 feet tall. And I'm climbing, and I get right to where I can tell everybody I got to the top, and the branch was maybe a half inch, and it broke. Boom! It broke, and I went pop, 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 pop all the way down. I hit the last branch and spun, and hit perfect flat. A back slam right on my back. Boom! And I was out. They took me to the hospital. Not one bone broke.
That's good.
Not one bone broke. And when I hit land, because I was maybe 7 to 10 feet before I hit the ground, I hit that one. It spun me. So it stopped me from hitting the ground hard. I went, boom.
It broke your fall.
Yeah. And I hit the ground flat. I would have landed on my rear. Who knows? I would have broken my lower back and my spine and stuff. But I hit flat.
Yeah.
Boom.
So when and where did you win your first tournament?
After I was boxing all these kids and making a pride, this and that, I was a really good boxer. I think I was maybe 8, 9. And my brother started taking me to karate, and I was, and I was making these kids cry. I was just a natural jumper.
Yeah.
I jump over things. I was just a natural jumper. The jump spinning back kicks and all that. My brother said, "Quit with all that foo stuff." And my brother was very short, very Japanese style. Stay on the ground. So I was staying on the ground for him. As soon as he turned around, he was doing jumping spins, dragon sweep, flipping this and that. And you always call it a foo. He said, "Quit with that foo stuff." And but by the time I was boxing and doing martial arts and then that's when I met Mr. Parker. I went to the internationals in '64.
Well, now, when did you meet Mr. Parker? You met him prior to that.
Right before that, at the school in Pasadena.
No, the Pasadena.
Not the one. Not the one in.
Not the one up here.
No, yes, not the one up here. The one in Pasadena.
So how did you end up? You went down there to train, or
Somebody
how did you end
told me
up?
about? They had a fighting class. And
How old were you at this time, Ben?
Maybe 11.
11. Okay, so you're still pretty young.
Yeah,
That's great.
Yeah. So I heard about that, and I told my brother, "Can we go over there?" And we went over there, but they wouldn't let us. They wouldn't let us train. So
And why was that? Was it because you weren't a member of the school, or you were too young?
too young.
So who was teaching those fight classes in those days?
It was my brother Arnold.
Was teaching the fight class at the Pasadena school?
No.
Who was
Over
teaching
to
it?
Pasadena.
Yeah.
No, I'm trying to think of his name, but not. I can't think of his
Was
name.
it Chuck Sullivan?
It wasn't Chuck.
No, not Sullivan.
No, not Chuck.
I think he was very heavy.
Steve LaBounty?
Steve LaBounty and
Tom Kelly?
one of them.
Tom Kelly was a big man. He was 6'4", he was light or younger, but then you fought at the internationals when he was fighting.
That's right.
He was 300 pounds, about 6'2", and he coming at you like he's 150. And he could move. He was a fast man.
Very quick.
I first met him in '95. Yeah. Eddie Downey introduced me to him, and I remember shaking his hand. It was like shaking hands with a gorilla.
No.
He was a big man.
He was, but fast. Fast for his
very
weight. Fast.
Yeah.
And all hard, man. This one, man, had none of them. I don't think any of them had fear for anything. And so when I first fought but I was few division. From there, I went into, they were saying, we don't have kids at this. So I was fighting. Right. So we were fighting for rank.
Yeah.
And so we went in with rank, not with age, with rank. So I was already a high rank at the age of 14. They forced me. There was 29 black belts. They forced me to get my black belt. And it was a 3-day testing. And at the end, he passed me at 14.
Now, who was they? This was.
You know what? I
was this in Kenpo Karate?
Kenpo Karate.
In Pasadena?
No. This was.
Urquidez. Okay.
And so they came down and watched me for 3 days. And next thing I know it, I got my black belt, and everybody kicked me. And got back up, kicked me, got back up, but I was so excited. I was taking the shots, even though I was already. My brother Arnold broke through my wrist. Kicked me, and they took me to the hospital. Everybody was mad at my brother Arnold. And my mom looked at Arnold and said, "Why did you kick your baby brother like that? Why did you hurt him like that? Put him in the hospital." And I heard my brother say, "He broke tradition. He wasn't even supposed to get his black belt until he's 18 years old." And he broke tradition. And now what are we gonna do? I'm embarrassed because now he's black belt and he has to go to national wearing the black belt. That's disrespectful. And
Why is it construed as disrespectful if the people who promoted it clearly saw?
because back then it was very, very honorable to take it with tradition the way it was. Shotokan, it was strict. Kimball, strict to what he was doing. Taekwondo, it was strict. Back then, there was nothing else. You're in that. You train, but see, because I was so good at what I was doing, they allowed me to cross over. But they know when I was there, because most of them, when I started fighting, it was good for their school. So I was every tournament I went to at the national, I would take three trophies, and then the grand champion, which was like 8 feet tall.
8 foot tall one, yeah.
And it was like marble, 3 feet by 4 feet marble, 3 levels.
You still have those?
Back then? And
You still have those? Yeah. No.
actually, I took them apart. My mom was pissed off.
Which you're talking about the internationals?
Yeah.
The trophy? Well,
Yeah.
have you seen what they look like?
Yeah, they're huge.
I have one up there. They're like a big trophy. I mean, they're like this high.
For grand champion
Yeah.
was huge.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It took 4 of us to carry it out.
Yeah, now they're like, because I remember back in the day, as a kid, seeing the 8 foot trophy, it's like, that's fun. And when you finally get to the point where you get it, because for
They were too expensive.
as 16 years old as you had to be able to fight as an adult, it's the only way you could win those at 16, right? It was like 16 to 35 or something. But I remember when I finally did get one at like 17 years old, it was just plastic. But when I picked it up, I was like, dude, I thought this thing was going to be huge. And here I am, can carry it with one hand.
I have to say, though, for the internationals in the 60s, when Mike Stone won the grand championship and stuff,
those were big ones?
They were, but not only were they big, there was three. There was three. There was the wooden one, the Japanese doorway. Then there was the cup, like the chalice.
That's the one you see Stone holding was the cup.
And then there was, sorry?
He's the picture with him and Bruce Lee. He's holding the cup, correct? Mike Stone.
There's two. There's one with him holding a cup, and there's one with him holding a nice trophy. Also.
I remember the cup.
Yeah. So they were what? But let's go back to your fight career, Sensei. How did it unfold? So you started in boxing. You were training with your father. You started competing in that because obviously that's what you knew at that point. And then
started judo.
You started judo, and then did you compete in judo?
Yeah.
So you competed in judo.
All my brothers.
You competed, and then how did you get in? Take us from that point. How you got into the points fighting, and then into the full contact, into the kickboxing scene. Just take us through the transition from one to the other.
Well, first,
and the time period, if you can remember.
You know what? In the beginning, in the 50s, I already people division and with all boxing from actually 58 to 60. And then I started boxing, and then I started judo. And I can't remember, but he was part of Iwasaki's, and he was.
Where was that?
That was Lancashire.
Oh, in the valley.
Yeah, in the valley. And so I started doing judo and kempo karate with them. And then, probably when I was 10 years old, is when I started. I think 64 first international. So
the first international was 64.
Yeah. So I went there, and I destroyed all the kids.
Yeah.
Destroyed them.
So that was the first time you set eyes on Bruce Lee. Take us through your
Oh
thoughts.
yes, well, because after I went through my division fast, and back then you're talking about you fought on these anywhere from 15 to 18, 20 times. That's how many people they were, and you were fighting constantly. But I was, and somebody told me, "Oh, we're gonna see Bruce Lee," and I said, "Who? Who? Exactly? Who? Yeah, Bruce Lee. You know who Bruce Lee is?" So I said, "Okay." He says, "Oh, you gotta see him." My brother Ruben is the one that said, "You gotta see this guy." So I went and I squeezed right in front. There was the square, okay, the ring, and I'm sitting down cross-legged, looking up at him, and he's talking. And my brother's behind me, and he's talking about the 4 inch, just this and that. And I turned to my brother and I said, "Brother, what are you talking about?" My brother slapped me in the head. Boom. I said, "What?" He said, "Don't you dare disrespect." I said, I was curious why he was talking. I never heard it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know why he was talking.
Yeah.
And so then he started talking about how he generates the power. And it comes up, and then it's like, boom, he snaps. And I'm looking. He blocked this one. He must have been 225 pounds, holding us, steel plate about this big on his chest into a cover position.
Yeah.
He's talking, holding his finger like this, talking about the generation of power, and this is this. And they moved. He actually, before he did it, he looked at the chair and he moved the chair even further back. And I said, "Oh, he didn't want to let him sit down."
Yeah.
He didn't want to let him sit down. So he moved. I actually moved the chair back for that reason. So he went back and he started talking about generating this power. And I didn't understand that. And I keep looking at my brother from my face. Listen. And so every time he said that, I wanted to ask my brother, and he didn't want me to ask. And after he finished, he made this noise. Ooh, and I didn't know it was a key eye, but the way he started generating. And all of a sudden I said, I'm going like this because man, it gave me
You give you chills.
yeah, just the way he was generating this energy of sound. And it was a vibration. To this day, I can still feel it. But there's this vibration that he just held, and that's when his thumb went like this. Because he was like a gun. He was like this, but all of a sudden he's like this, and all of a sudden I saw him go like this. Why he's going? Oh, and all of a sudden he went, boom, boom. This guy went back, step, hit it, and went over the chair. I jumped up. I want to do that.
Yeah.
And this guy is hit. He hit his chest and came up to his jaw, the plate, and he rolled over. And everybody's clapping this and that. And I'm looking not at him. I'm looking at the guy that was
They just got.
yeah, no, he's going like this. His jaw, like I said.
Oh, he came up and hit him in the face.
Yeah.
Oh.
So when he hit the ground,
When you move back,
he went like this.
Yeah,
He went
like
exactly
that. Oh,
off
man.
his chest. And so in that, I thought to myself, how does he does it? And then it clicked. My mom used to talk about internal power, and, what we call breath medicine on the reservation. And breath medicine is about different type of generating power. And so such are certain warriors. And I was listening to my mom tell about, never understood it. But when I listened to Bruce, it made sense to me.
Yeah.
But I didn't understand what my mom was saying. But I compared them. Why? Because it was the same internal type of energy that my mom was trying to explain to me. But maybe because I needed to see it.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I heard it,
It just snapped
felt
in.
it, and I saw what happened. That's why I jumped up. I jumped and said, I want that. Then I told my brother, can I spar with him? And he said, you don't have enough experience.
Yeah.
I'm just a little cop.
Yeah.
You don't have enough experience. Every tournament, I took grand champion.
But your tenacity of just like, I think that's just so awesome to hear that even at 12 years old, your inner warrior was like, can I spar with him? Can I learn with him? That's just something to be said about that. I mean, because that would intimidate 99.999 repeating people. You know what I mean?
That was exciting.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like that. And to hear it, feel it, and look at it with all my senses, him doing that, man, there was an explosion in me that I want that.
Even with you telling it right now, because we've heard that story from a couple other people, the way you tell it, it's more visceral. And it's like I can almost feel it. You know what I mean? The way you're telling it, like it was almost like we're there. Like when you were talking, it almost sounded like a shotgun in a way. Like that's crazy.
I mean, the way he hit that plate, and the way the guy step, boom, hit the chair, and the chair just, and so I thought maybe the chair will slide.
Yeah, it just kind of
hit that chair, boom. I mean, that's how hard he hit.
Yeah.
He hit and went back. That's how hard he hit. And maybe it was the weight of the plate, but I don't know. But it's like, what stuck behind that chair that made it tip? But the force of this guy hitting the chair, moving back with his plate,
Yeah.
the excitement of it was.
Oh, I got chills when you were
All I know is I got up. That's the first thing that came out of my head. I want to do that.
Well, I was talking to Guru down in Osanta once, and I asked him, one time we were having a talk, I asked him about Bruce's punch.
It's one punch.
No, just his punch in general. He was relatively a small guy. He was not a very big man.
No, it wasn't.
So, how would his punch differ from that of Mike Tyson? Of course. I mean, I know what the difference is, but I wanted to see what Guru Dan will tell me.
Yeah.
And he said, well, Bruce's punch was more like it was going to penetrate your organs. It was like a whip. He says, well, Mike Tyson's is going to send you flying. It was more of a thud.
He wants to break.
Yeah, but Bruce is more like a whip. It's going to go in, it's going to like shake up your organs. And another person that told me the same story actually was Pat Strong, who was one of his first students in Seattle. And he said the same thing, but so.
Did he do anything else other than the 1-inch punch that day? Do you remember seeing any other?
Everybody was just in awe of that.
Yeah.
And the point was, my mother, I told my mother, she was up in the stands. I went and told my mother, did you see that? You told me, and I'm all she's saying. Calm down.
Yeah.
She said, let me tell you what just happened. I said, what happened? What happened? Tell me. And she said, first of all, if you can see the vibration of what he did, and I say, what do you mean? The vibration of his. It was like she explained it to me like thunder. She says, you see thunder, how thunder hits and there's a ripple? That's how my mom explained it. There's a type of and that's what my mom was saying. Did you see?
That's cool.
From this point, the thunder was his. Wow, that was a thunder. The after was what you saw. The after effect. After that, boom, the after effect, the ripples of energy. This is how my mom explained it to me. I said,
that's deep.
I could never understand my mom when she's talking.
But you get it out.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, and that's what's cool.
No, I got it way back then. I just didn't get it at the time.
And the first time,
I didn't get it at the time because
seeing is believing. You saw it,
yeah,
and then it was like
I saw it, I felt it, I tasted it, I smelled it, I was there.
So, Sensei, when was your first kickboxing? In the ring, boxing gloves on?
Actually, it was called full contact karate because I kept on winning tournaments and I was beating them, and then I was getting disqualified to excessive contact and this and that, and I was cutting people over my jump skins and this. I was hurting people, and then I got bored. I said, you know what? I'm tired of getting disqualified. So when we went on 69, we went to go to Europe on the Elvis Presley team. We were training, and they wanted to take me being the smallest, and they wanted to take me and show what kind of force. It's not about hockey. So we were training this, and then when we went, everybody kept on saying, "Who's going to fight Lemons? Who's going to fight Lemons?" And I said, "Well, who's this?" And that's exactly what I said. I said, "Well, I'm thinking, well, who's Lemons?" I said, "Oh, I don't." And they all, when I said that, "Oh, I don't," they all look at me like, and almost I can almost read them say, "Okay, you be the sacrifice to that. We'll beat you, and we'll beat the rest." That's what I got out of what they said. Okay. And they all agreed, okay.
Who's they are? Who was on the team, Benny?
And it was
John Nativita.
it was the short gun it got split straight open.
You had Roy Marchini.
Ron Martini.
Ron Marchini.
Was Bill on that? Bill Wallace?
Yes.
Bill wasn't on that, was he? Was Bill on that team?
No.
No. You had Ron Marchini. You had yourself. You
The
had
Texan,
John Nativita.
John Nativita.
You had
What's the big one from Utah? He's
yeah. Well, we'll have to research it.
Yeah, we'll put it up.
But
Legends on that team.
But that wasn't 69 though. That was 78. No, was it 69? Okay, that was the one Ed Parker coached, right? He came on that team. It was in Belgium, right?
Yeah, it was in Belgium.
Yeah.
It was an early one, right before, because I know right after that, I did a couple of other tournaments and I got disqualified. So I decided to box professional. I started boxing with Bob Chacon and Randy Shields, and I mean, especially with Bob Chacon, and got me ready for it. Then somebody said, you wanna fight full contact karate? I said, what? He said, you wanna fight full contact karate? And I said, what is that? He said, well, it's karate to the knockout. And the first thing that came out of my mouth, I won't get disqualified. He said, no, it's to the knockout. But I won't get disqualified.
Yeah, because you've been point fighting up at that time, right?
Yeah. So in 73, it's the first time everybody's going to Hawaii. This is at the Blaisdell Arena in Hawaii. And there was no weight divisions, no rules. If you and I got lead, we fought. It was just elimination, didn't care. And there was no rules.
That's awesome.
There was no rules, no weight division, no nothing. So that's the first time full contact karate started.
Now, did they have the instep pads and the boxing gloves at that time, or you were just?
No,
that's
but
awesome.
you know what they had? The safety chop was foam. Then you put your two fingers into, and the safety chop went from here to here. It was just a little cup, and it was like a half inch foam.
So barely in there.
It went from here to here. Wow. I hurt my hands more with that than without it.
Right.
Because it gives you a false protection.
Yeah.
Okay? But it did, because all you had just two little things to put your fingers in, and then it came from here to here.
And when you have something like that, that's a surface area that connects and sticks.
And if it sweats,
exactly.
If it sweats, it slips.
Yeah.
But if you're dry, it sticks.
And
but when it sticks, it pulls everything. What my fingers were in, it pulls it back. Because when you hit it, sticks on the face, it pulls it back.
Yeah.
And I kept them so many times. Why do I have to fight with these?
Yeah.
Why just fight bare knuckles? And they said, you have to. But you know what? Believe it or not, I thought to myself, can I take these off? And they can. And they said. So then I started fighting. The first one, I fought this one guy, and strong, and he was on the other side. He had this smile, and I said, "Okay." We went. I chased him. I went right at him. Man. I went like a crazy man after him, man. It was like a leaf sucking on his blood, man. I just went like a crazy person. And all of a sudden, he was down, and they grabbed me. I couldn't, because I figured, hey, no rules. So I'm ready to jump on them and then grab this, throw me off. And we're on this, we're on the stage. No ropes, no nothing. We're just on the stage. And they threw me off, I almost fall off the stage. And the guy didn't want no more.
Yeah.
It was it. It was done.
Now, when you were, so this was actually full contact, right?
Full contact.
When you did the point fighting back in the day, what I noticed when you look at their stances back in the day, they still have the stances here, whereas nowadays they're always bladed and covering their body. Have you noticed that? Like, where do you think that come about? I know it's a side thing, but where did that come about?
When there's rules where you can kick to the groins and you can kick to the head, and everybody's doing this, protecting the groins.
But the Japanese rules today, they still fight like this.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, they square. But they are so fast with that reverse punch.
The problem is 1-2 shots at a time. They come to the fight with a shotgun.
Yeah.
When I fought there, or when I fought in Japan, I fought with those guys. They fight 1-2 shots at a time. Man, I came with a machine gun. Man, it's all over.
But let's go back to Hawaii. So you fight that guy, you beat him. Now, was that an elimination bout or was that for champion?
I fought 7 times.
7 in 1 day.
1 day.
And you won all 7. So you won the champion. You won the champion division.
Before I dropped them, I said, first thing, they're going to
disqualify you because
and they put my hand up. I said, "Oh wow, I didn't get disqualified."
Like this.
I ran and told my brother. Hey, brother, it's my brother, my younger brother, Smiley and Blinky. They didn't disqualify me. I said, "Brother, you can actually really hit him now." So Blinky fought next, knocked him out with a left hook, boom, and Blinky already put his hands up because why? He knew it was real.
He knew you won. Yeah,
it was real.
Yeah.
So I fought this other guy. I can't think who he was, but pretty tall. And I said, I didn't even know about thigh kicking. I just happened to, I was going for a sweep, but he moved back and I kicked him in the thigh. And oh no, he went forward.
This is in the full contact karate.
Full contact karate, but there was no thigh kicking. I mean, you could do everything, but I didn't know anything about thigh kicking. There was no such thing. And so I went to kick him in the calf. He moved forward, and I hit him right in the thigh. And he went like this.
That's smart.
And man, I hit him. Bam, bam, bam. I jumped on top of him, and I just went at him, and they grabbed me. And I'm still kicking the punches they got me, man. And all of a sudden they say, and everybody from the upstairs start coming down. They say everybody started getting closer and closer, watching me.
Yeah.
And then, but you know how many rings that were going on? It must have been 10 rings. 5 on each side. But every time I fought, all the rings stopped. They all came to my ring to watch me fight. Now, all the boys that were fighting, they stopped.
Yeah. Where does you and I spoke about this incident in the past. There was an incident at the Coliseum. One of your fights. It was
the Olympic Auditorium.
The Olympic Auditorium. So that was your first fight with a guy from overseas, was it? So take us through that whole thing because they thought you were being disrespectful.
Okay. So after I went through,
first of all, in relationship to the timeline of fighting,
this is kickboxing
from 70. Okay,
where is this fight at the auditorium? What period are we in?
Full contact karate started in 73. I moved on in 75. Okay, in 75 I started because again after I beat this, when I said I moved on, my brother said, "You're the world champion." And I said, "Brother, how can I be the world champion? I haven't been outside the United States. I beat everybody here." He said, "Well, they're coming from different places." I said, "Brother, I don't feel like a world champion." He says, "Oh, yeah?" I said, "Yeah. You want to call me world champion?" So 2 months later, he says, "You want to fight Muay Thai?" I said, "I'll fight him."
He's a guy. You thought he was named. I think it was like guy. That's all.
I had no idea. I said, "I'll fight him." And my brother said, "Okay." And then they bridge. I think it was like 6 weeks later.
That's awesome.
Okay, and so Ernest Hart is a semi event. I'm the main event. So there's some other fighting going on for kickboxing going on, and then Ernest Hart goes out. He's the semi-event, and he went out, and so I was going to go out to watch him. My brother said, "Don't worry, just you do good." With that, then and he was doing good, moving around, doing his splash, and then suddenly he got knocked out.
Oh, what are you gonna do
in the third round? I wanted to see what was, but my brother just kept me in the room and said, "You don't need to see any of it."
And then who did you end up fighting? Which bout was this?
This was the Long No, I think.
And this is the one that, because I think you know who Mighty Mouse Johnson is.
Yeah,
He, I believe, just did like a commentary on that fight. That was your first Muay Thai match, correct? Yeah, so he did a commentary just recently. Put it up on his YouTube channel. I don't know if you've seen it. You got to see it.
Well, is it that fight though?
Yeah,
tell us about the fight, how it unfolds. So then you'll know
after my brother said it, Ernest got stopped, and I said, "Okay." I said, "This showtime."
Yeah.
And my brother said, "All right." So he looked at my eyes. He says, "How do you feel?" I said, "Another day in the Milky Way."
Yeah.
And he looked at me and he said, "Okay." So that's all he wanted to hear me say.
Yeah. So
And so when I say, they didn't want to put tape. So, but he gloved me. I mean, they laced me. They really said, but didn't put no tape.
He didn't wrap you up.
Yeah. Oh no, he did wrap.
Oh, okay.
But they needed it on the ring. They needed to.
They needed to see it in the ring. Gotcha.
So they wanted to. So we're going down, and I'm listening to the Thai music. I'm listening to Thai music, and so all of a sudden I get off, and while he's doing that, everybody is clapping this and that and get into it. I go in the ring, and I'm on the other side, and I'm starting to. I
grew to dance to it a little bit.
So I'm starting to move with this music, and so all the time people think I'm making fun of them.
Oh.
And I would just get. I never heard that before, so I'm just kind of moving with it, And my son, he got back up, and then he started sliding,
doing his dance.
And all of a sudden, he came right in front of me, and he stopped and he shot. And I looked at him, I smiled, put thumbs up, and he was pissed. He was angry, man. And all of a sudden, he went back, and I could feel his body posture going back. In other words, he's pushing his cornerman out like this. I know he was mad.
Yeah.
The bell rang, so I go to touch blood. Man, he went right after me. I went boom. I didn't put my leg. I jumped back like this, and he kicked my leg, and I went and I said, "All right." I said, "Okay, I know what time it is. Let's go." So I'm moving around, and then he started going for my legs, and I'm thinking, what is he doing? Yeah. So I went for it, but I gave a judo sweep with the bottom of my foot.
Oh, yeah.
A judo sweep.
Yeah.
Boom, boom. And then he grasped me.
And
clinch. And when he's clinching me, he's turning me. So he's throwing me off the ground. I went to hit his body. Boom, boom, boom. He's throwing me and me. And then he's trying to be my face. So I put my hand like this, and I'm hitting him. But I can't get out of his grip.
Yeah.
Can't get out of it. And the bell rang. And they had to come and push the referee had to go in between us because this guy would not stop and finally broke him. And the referee was telling him, because he didn't understand. He just kept on going like this.
Your corner, yeah.
And so my brother said, you see, it wasn't my brother, it was, can you tell in my corner, and he was telling me, all right, don't let him grab you. I said, so what do I do? He said, don't let him grab you. I said, so what do I do? Yeah. He had no idea. So the second round came, and then that's when I started to get I realized he didn't even take it. He ran right to me. He came right at me. Man, he went through and I moved, man. If I was still there, he would have broke my head open with that elbow. And I'm moving this and that, and he's kicking, and I don't know what to do. So I'm jumping over his leg, trying to, I don't know how to block him. Yeah. So I go to kick, and some of my brothers yelling, kick him. So I'm doing spin kicks, I'm doing different, because I didn't know what to do. Finally, my after the second round came, I came back and I'm telling my brother, what is he doing? He's street fighting me. This guy is elbowing me in my face. He's trying to leave my face. He's I don't know what he's doing. He says, go back. Kick his legs like he's kicking your legs. Show him. The round came. I said, all right. Man, I mean, in my mind, I'm gonna break this guy's legs. Yeah. I kicked him hard, man. I kicked, boom, and he goes, boom. And I said, oh shit.
Yeah, that hurts more.
My shit, man, it was killing me. And I'm telling my brother, this guy smelled. Because I see they're up there and he's going, shh.
Oh, they're putting all the stuff on.
Yeah. And I'm looking, I said, what the hell are they doing on him? Because whatever they're putting on his legs, the sweat is coming in my face and burning my eyes. Yeah. I said, my eyes are burning. And he's saying, don't let him grab you. My brother did have no idea what this. He had no idea because he'd never seen it himself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I figured, all right, you want to go like that? So the fourth round came. I said, all right, this is the fight now. This one I start to realize, ball kick him, bing, 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 coming up, and I start throwing. He clinched me, man. I just kept on throwing this and that. And finally I grabbed him. I picked him up and I did a judo throw. I picked him up and I actually slammed him on his head. Boom! I got back up. So and I'm looking at him. You want to fight like that? This and that. He gets right back up, does this, comes after me again, trying to elbow me, this and that. I ball kick him, boom. He clinched me. I throw him again on his head. I'm trying to break his neck, man. Why? Because this guy he was coming right for, half the time I moved. Otherwise, he would have split me wide open.
Now, is this the one that you finished him off with the spin back kick?
No.
No. Okay, so then this is a different fight. Because
No.
the one that Demetrius was commentating on, you ended him with two. You hit him with a spin back kick, dropped him,
No.
and then you hit another guy.
This is the first time I've heard
Okay,
ever.
Okay.
Muay Thai is the first time. And then finally, when this guy started, he jumped up. Boom! Up over the top of the head. And I just went like that, and all of a sudden, I'm moving around and I'm feeling something warm coming down on my face. It was blood. It cut me open with the down elbow. And that's when I said, all right, I'm gonna take you to the streets. And that's what I did. I went right after him. But Mike, he couldn't even touch me. He tried to kick me, just move out of my feet. I gave him no breathing room whatsoever. And this guy was tough. He didn't take no bull. He took the punishment, with more people would have went down.
And that changed though how you viewed fights after. Then
That's right.
take us now you converted your training. You added what? What did you went
I
added leg checks, elbows.
But I was doing elbows, karate elbows.
So you were swinging it through, and they
I was doing karate elbows, and they're flipping. Oh, they're flipping on me.
Yeah.
And so I watched that and I said, why are they flipping? And then I started realizing, they're using the elbow like a knife. They're cutting me like this, just like a jab. They're cutting me. This is how you cut somebody open. Yeah. It's like a jab, and then they're cutting me open with the elbows. And I learned that. So then they, in Japan, they wanted to know who is this American that just beat the Thai champion. Right? Now, what happened, and the reason why I beat him is because I was beating him with all kinds of points. But they wasn't giving this guy low kicks and elbows for points because the judge had never seen that.
never seen it before.
So they wasn't scoring. So I was way ahead of the game. Otherwise, it would have been real close. Yeah. Because he, but I threw 3-4 times more than he did, but they wasn't counting his low kicks and his elbows and so forth. But I didn't realize That's what they do. I didn't. And the reason why I found that out is when I'm in Japan, these Muay Thai fighters in Japan are doing the same. I've already recognized.
Yeah, you saw it.
I already recognized. No, I didn't saw. I felt it.
Yeah.
I felt every bit of what this Thai champion did.
So this guy really revolutionized how you train and prepare from then on.
I changed things because I realized the clinch. I didn't know how to get out of the clinch. I didn't know how to block, and that's why I created shin guards. I created the shin guards in '74. You know why? Because I'm watching. I'm seeing what he did. So I'm telling my brother kick my leg, and I'm like this. I said, "Oh, that hurt it." So I went to an old man. He was a shoe repairman, and I told him, I want something here. Can you something for protection? Can you make something for me for protection on my shin? And he goes, why? And so I gave him an example of kicking and bringing the leg up and did a kick. And he looked at me and thought about it. And he came back and he brought three different foams, 2 inch, inch and a half, an inch foam. And I figured 2 inch, man.
Yeah.
I'll take the big foam. And so he had to form leather and certain things. He had a machine. So he got this foam, put it on there, and formed it to my shin like this, and then put it on my shin. And then he measured it and cut. Then after that, I said, I need to keep it high. And then he figured out knuckle.
So he literally revolutionized. You literally, him and you, revolutionized padding.
That's it. The shin guards.
That is
That's
phenomenal.
the reason for that because, man, I was getting brutal. That's why I came up with the shin guards. So and then in '80s when I started making all shin guards for my
That's
for,
awesome.
this one guy, he was making uh, gloves in his garage with him and his brother. So I asked him if he could make me something like this, and then he came and did. He put leather over it,
Made it even better.
and made it look good. Made it look, 'cause I said, "Oh, those are cool." And he said, "If I make these for you," he said, "I'll just charge you for the material, but can I sell them?" I said, "I don't care. Give me a good deal. I don't care what you do." That guy became a multimillionaire. He has a lot of property in Mexico City.
That's awesome.
So to go back, so you went to Asia and you fought in Japan. Many times. Did you fight in Thailand also?
Matter of fact, you know what? Because they all came.
They all came to Japan.
They came to you.
So how many times did you fight in Japan? Because I know your last fight was in Japan.
Yeah.
But you fought a number of times. Was it in the 70s and the 80s? In the 80s.
And because the first one I fought, first of all, no, it wasn't the 70s. The first one I fought was in '76. And it was the end of '75, '76 was the wrong Muay Thai. After that, 3 months later, I ended up in Japan fighting Suzuki. I stopped him, took his first title. I mean, I was the first American to take their title from them. After I took their title, they had me come back 3 months later. They couldn't, and they started bringing champions, different champions from different weight divisions. They started bringing champions, and so I started going practically every 4 to 6 months. I was back in Japan fighting because they wanted that belt.
Yeah.
They couldn't accept American beating them.
Now, what did the audience think? What did the spectators of
After I knocked out Suzuki the first time,
did they love you?
they were quiet.
They just couldn't believe it.
It was scary. It was that scary. It was quiet. You're talking about 10, 15,000 people.
Well, the Japanese audience, though, is relatively quiet, aren't they? Compared to the American audience, no?
Back then, when they have a fighter, they cheer their fighter. When I was fighting Suzuki, after I knocked out Suzuki, after they had no, it's like they couldn't believe I just knocked out their champion.
But did they take to you like in the future? Did they ever get behind you?
Yes,
Yeah.
because then they brought out the undefeated champion. He was undefeated. He retired just maybe 8 months ago. They brought him out and he was training. 6 months later, I came back and I brought him. And my brother, this guy, he didn't even come into the weigh-in. And when I came in, then he came in. I said, brother, he is not, he is not 142. I said, one of his legs is 142. I said, look at those legs. And this guy, man, I mean, huge legs, thin body, big legs. And I said, my brother said, you don't have to fight him. I said, no. We'll fight. And my brother kept on saying, watch out for his legs. He's powerful with his legs. He destroys people with his legs. But he kept on telling me in my ear, watch out for his leg, watch out for his leg. So the bell rings. We go in the first round. We go. And I'm moving around. And all of a sudden, he goes like this. And I thought he was going to kick me. So I went like this to clinch, hits me with an overhand right. Boom! I hit the ground. I hit the ground. I look up at him, and he had this little smirk on his face. And I smiled. I jumped up.
Now it's
I
all.
said, okay. And the audience went crazy. And all of a sudden, they went, "Fight!" This guy came at me, and he threw, and I went to clinch him. He threw me. My legs came off the ground, at least a foot off the ground. Because I was
Awesome.
I had a hold of his arms just to stop him, and he threw me, man, cracked me. My legs came off the ground, and I hit the ground. I got up, and I said, "Damn, this guy's gone." I said, okay. So now I'm moving around. Now I'm moving, bang, bang, moving around, kicking this and that. The bell rang, and I said, brother, this guy, man, is not 142. I said, he don't hit like 142. He don't move like 142. And my brother said, you can stop it. I said, you're not stopping nothing. And he said, well, then quit complaining. I said, I'm not complaining. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And he said, I see with my own eyes. I can see this guy. So then I started coming after the guy in the third round. And after I started coming after him, and then he started doing whipping power rock kicks, and I'm slipping, I'm moving. By the time third round,
Now you're dancing. You got him.
now I got him up here. I said, it's a matter of time. He clenched me, hit his body. Boom, boom. When he got me clean, I put my arm right through him, clenched his arm. I got him by the neck, and they would break me loose. And I tell you what, man, by then I already knew how to work this guy.
Yeah.
And by the time the first round came, I said, this guy is coming at me like bombs. He went to shoot a bomb, and I reaped him. He jabbed, shot that right pass, and I reaped him. I came up, left hook him. Bang, 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 bang. And he was trying to stand on his feet, and I drove him all the way back to the ropes. Kept on driving. He was trying to grab me. He couldn't even see me. I was like a piston. I was like, he must have thought I had 8 arms because they were going low, high, up. And every time he would try to grab me, I even forearmed him. Boom, my forearm would have a blow. Boom, moved him out of and I was doing that. I said, you want to fight like that? Come on. And after that, he went down. And when he went down, I went like this, and the referee jumped up and
Pull you off.
threw me off him. And I turned around, and I'm stopping, I'm looking. And the crowd, I was like in the middle, like in a concert, those big speakers, the vibration from them. That's what I felt like. I was in a big speaker with all this vibration of yelling. I've never seen Japanese be so loud. And they were. And then after that, he just rolled over.
That was it.
And
Here's the one that Mighty Mouse did. I don't know what actual fight this is, but Mighty Mouse was commentating, and I'll bring this up on the camera. Do you remember this one?
no. Oh, yeah. Matter of fact, if you look at my book,
Yeah.
He is on the cover with me on my book from Japan.
That's him.
That's
Okay.
him.
Okay. This is the one you took out with the back kick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a hell of a back kick.
And it's so awesome. I remember watching this because Mighty Mouse is a legend in MMA world. I mean,
Yeah.
just an absolute legend.
Yeah.
And him, like being able to listen to him break down your fighting style, and especially something that is what? I mean, what year was that? Would you say in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
For him to be able to do that and break it down, like, and he was able to kind of like, call things out and be able to see where this guy was messing up, where you could see it. It's just phenomenal to see because at the end of the day, it's a conversation, and fighting is still the same conversation. It's just gotten better, right?
The fighting, depending on what type of fighting and what kind of energy you put into the fight. Some people fight mentally, some people fight physically, some people fight spiritually with faith, and some people fight playing a physical game of chess. And they have it calculated. If he does this, I'm going to do that. If he does this, I'll do this. They got it down to a science.
Science, yeah.
The problem is with that, I said, how did you know?
Yeah, science isn't always right.
See, to them, they studied my fights, they studied my film, they came in, this guy put different pressure on me. And that was one of the interviews. How come you fought different? And I said, simple as this, because the pressure he put on me was different than anybody else. That's why.
Now, let's talk about some of your fights in Hong Kong that were on the mats, but the same equivalent of being in the ring. Let's talk about the one where they took you to a warehouse. You're in Hong Kong, and they took you to a warehouse, and it's an interesting. Can you talk about that?
All I know